Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Imran Mir. Some students asked me to discuss how to analyze data. If you Google the internet, particularly YouTube, you will find hundreds of lectures on data analysis in your area of research. If your area of research is social sciences, specifically business management, you will find enormous expert content on how to conduct analysis, from how to operate a software like SPSS, AMOS, to the interpretation of results. However, my approach to conducting analysis is a little bit different. When I was doing my PhD, after completing theorization section of my thesis, I consulted my supervisor, some friends and experts in my area to know how to proceed with data collection and analysis. Each one of them gave me their valuable suggestions, but someone gave me a golden tip. I would like to share that golden tip with you. He told me go and download and read some research papers from a Journal of Psychological Assessment, Psychological Bulletin, MIS, Quarterly, and so on. He didn't mention anything else. I was curious to know why. When I downloaded some research papers and read them, I got the answer. All statistical techniques or analytical techniques and their applications were discussed in them in detail. Why they are applied, how they are applied, in which situations they are applied, and how results are interpreted, and so on. The point that I want to make here is that before starting data collection and analysis, a research student should read methodological literature. It will give you a complete information about data collection methods and analytical tools. I believe that if you follow this tip, you will benefit from it. If some research student does not read methodological literature, there are chances he or she would make a mistake by applying wrong statistical techniques or apply them in a wrong way. There is another suggestion. You do not need to make your thesis or research more statistical than required. Once one of my friends told me that his supervisor instructed him to apply all the statistical techniques in his thesis. It would give an impression that he knew a lot about statistical analysis. But when he told me, my instant response was, do not make that mistake. It would give an impression that you knew nothing. The researchers who really know about the analysis, they apply few and relevant analytical techniques in their research. In order to make things more easy for students, I would quote an example step by step. Step 1, just pick a paper, write down your research question on it. For instance, if your research question is, does attitude impact behavior? The second step is write down your objective. For instance, if your objective is to know the impact of attitude towards imported cars on buyers' buying behavior or car buying behavior. The third step is write down your constructs and define them. In this case, there are two theoretical constructs, attitude towards imported cars and buyers' buying behavior. Suppose you define attitude and overall evaluation towards an object, in this case imported cars. Imported cars are durable, they are fuel efficient. You define behavior, I buy imported cars, I recommend others to buy imported cars. Once you have theoretically defined your constructs, the next step is to define about your research approach for collecting data. If once you have decided about your data collection approach, the next step is to decide how to operationalize your constructs or how to translate theoretical constructs into variables. There are two methods for item generation or for developing measurement scales of constructs. One is known as inductive method, other is known as deductive method. I will discuss second one. In case of deductive method, also known as logical partitioning, a researcher first reviews the literature thoroughly, develops theoretical constructs, defines them, develops theory. Then, in the light of those definitions, he or she generates scale items. In this case, the previous relevant literature is the main source of item generation. You would have seen in research papers in method section, researchers write items were used from previous literature. That is deductive method. Once you have generated items, the next step is to ascertain their content validity. In simple words, content validity means that those items are able to conduct the data on the theoretical constructs. For instance, if you develop items to measure attitude towards imported cars, I like imported cars. Imported cars are cool. These items lack content validity because if you go back and look into your theoretical definition of attitude, you defined it an evaluation, that is your thinking. But you are developing items which measure basically the feelings of the person. The right items, possible right items, which might have content validity would be imported cars can be driven off-road, imported cars can be driven rough road. In 1 liter, an imported car covers 30 kilometers. Similarly, you will examine or assess the content validity of items related to behavior. Once you have confirmed content validity of your theoretical constructs, next step is to assess their or evaluate their construct validity. There are two components of construct validity: convergent validity and discriminant validity. Just for understanding, convergent validity simply indicates that all the items in a scale are closely related, which are measuring a particular construct, in this case attitude and behavior. Discriminant validity: scale items of a measurement scale related to a construct, like in this case attitude, are different than the items measuring another construct in the same model, in this case behavior. Once you have ascertained the discriminant validity, after that you need to conduct the main study or collect the data to test the proposed model and hypothesis. This was today's topic. I hope students will get at least an idea how to conduct an analysis. Thank you so much for watching this discussion. Please do not forget to subscribe, like and share this video with others. Allah Hafiz.